Oh shit, I'm live. What up? Um, just what? Yeah, I'm talking to you. This is on though. No one's here though. Anyway, I'm just gonna make a quick post to tell people to come through, and then I'll have my undivided attention. Um, so what's up? Um, just chilling here, getting ready to get my knit on. Waiting for some freaks to show up. Gotta put the link in my bio. Um, sorry, this is annoying. Fun, very fun. Hello to the chat. Um, mhm. um. So anyway, what's up? Uh, wait for some more people to show up. What's the link to this place? New art. Oh shit. Okay. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. This is fun. This is great. Um Thank you. Uh isn't this isn't this so fun to be in Bug World? Got a shout out Bug Girl for inviting me to participate in this. This is super exciting. Um I am kicking off a few weeks of programming in Bug World where you can see different artists hanging out in this very cool 3D space. So definitely keep coming back to check out everyone else. Um, it's very fun. Um, and if you're typing in the chat, I will be reading it. So, we can hang out. It won't just be me endlessly talking about nothing. I mean, it will be, but I will also talk about what you want to talk about. Uh, Bug World. Um, yeah, so what we're gonna be doing today is a little bit of knitting. We've had a very, very exciting uh March Madness tournament to decide what meme I will be knitting this evening, and I will be revealing what that is very shortly. Um, Hopefully, I will be joined by a very special guest later. I don't wanna say who, but it rhymes with, Min, Wanwell. Uh, apparently they're stuck in traffic, so, it may be a while before my special guest is here. Until then, just stuck with me here while I try to talk and update the link in my bio at the same time, which is difficult. It's very difficult. Um, I I don't I don't know. Here we go. I don't know how to do this all at the same time. Um, so yes. I hope everyone had a really fun time voting on the bracket. Um, Bug Girl and I hand selected the contenders based on a variety of factors, including which ones were our favorites, which things I thought were classic images and popular. Um, I would love to hear if there are ones that you felt were missing. Please sound off in the chat about that. Um, because I certainly don't know everything, and would love to know what I'm missing out on. The memes that are not on my radar, if there are any. Um, so anyway, okay, done with this. No more phone. If you want to talk to me again, please use the chat. If you're watching the screen, you have to hit escape, I think, to enter text into the chat. Um, you can set your username. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then you can click back to see the screen again. What I was thinking maybe would be clever would be to have 2 windows open so you can be, oh, here we go. Um, if you have 2 windows open, maybe you could be chatting in one and watching in the other. I don't know if, like, if that's gonna, like, destroy your computer to run 2 instances of Bug World at the same time, so, not my fault if your computer crashes, not on me. Um, yeah, I see, would have loved Arthur's Fist to make it to the bracket. That would be a good one, and I feel like I have seen, some, like, textile art related to Arthur's Fist, so you know what? Swamp Crass, next time we'll get Arthur's Fist in the bracket, for you. Hopefully this is all looking good. Oh wow, I see my light is all blown out. Hang on. Wow. This is this is so dramatic. I didn't even notice. That's fun. Um, Hopefully the light will calm down as the evening wears on. Um, so anyway, like I said before, we will be knitting today. I have my beautiful knitting machine here set up for you. Um, if at any point you cannot see me or cannot hear me, I can try to get the camera to adjust again or move the microphone. So just holler at me. Um, the machine does make a sound, so when I get into like the knitting zone, if you want, just a fair warning that it might be a little noisy. I have this beautiful directional mic to try to drown some of the machine sounds out. Um, so we'll see how that goes. Yes, this room that I'm in is actually my living room. I'm sitting in front of my lovely fireplace and mantle, so I thought it would be picturesque setting for a knitting stream. I usually have this all set up downstairs in my basement studio, which is, it's a nice space, but I need to be close to the router, which is why I'm up here. So that was really my thinking with the whole upstairs situation. So yeah, I right. And like I said, if at any point you have any questions, you want to talk to me, you want me to answer anything about what I'm doing, just holler at me. I'm looking at the chat. I'm here for you. But I'm also here to knit. So yeah, let's cast on, which is and I'm not talking about Beauty and the Beast. I I will be this is the very first step when you are using a knitting machine is you have to sort of attach the yarn to your hooks on the machine. So, um, I like to have sort of a I used to do this a lot on Twitch, right? I would be live streaming and knitting, and I had this second camera angle where you could really see what was going on the machine. And unfortunately, I can only have one camera for this. So no close-ups, sorry. No camera 2, unfortunately. So you're just gonna have to bear with me while I work through this. Um, and yes. So yeah, let's get started. I've got my yarns loaded up already. I've got like a teal color and a burgundy color. So I'm gonna start casting on with the teal. Um, kind of got this microphone in the way here. And so what I'm literally doing here is wrapping the yarn around each hook individually. And so how this works is that on this bed, it's called, there's 200 separate metal hooks. And as you pass this carriage back and forth, it has the hooks pull. You start with a set of loops and the hooks pull another loop through. And so as they all pull through simultaneously, you knit like a row of knitting. And so what I'm doing now is just starting off by putting loops around each hook that is going to be in action for the piece that I'm knitting. And the piece that I'm knitting was decided on by y'all, um, which is very exciting. I did not anticipate the results. I'll tell you that much. Um, the I definitely had my favorites. Not related to our special guest this evening. Um, that I was like, "Oh, it's for sure gonna be this one because I like it," but it was, like, out in the first round, which is crazy. I felt like all of my picks for the first round were, like were the wrong ones, um, which was funny. I guess my tastes are not everyone's tastes, which seems messed up to me, but what do I know? Lynn for the win. That's right. That is extremely right. Um, yeah, I was excited to see the wild card come up in the finals round. Um, and was just completely not wanted. It's like if we can get 90% on Lin Manuel, he's gonna sweep the whole thing. And it was like 90% no, which I thought was great. Poor guy can't catch a break, he's got it really hard. I don't think you understand what it's like to be Lin Manuel, you know? Um, close personal friend of mine apparently is on his way here, said he's gonna join us. He must be stuck in traffic, you know how that is. Anyone here got a car? No? I don't, but, traffic, it's a thing. We all deal with it in so many ways. Yeah, I'm very excited to be back streaming again. I think the last time I was live was September of, like, 2020? Does that make sense? I think so. I did a really fun performance festival, virtual performance festival called Hot Wheels Festival. And I did 3 days of Punch Stream, which is the sort of original, um, streaming show, I guess, that I was doing, where I would have people, they would basically draw a punch card from my knitting machine. And back then, I had a different knitting machine where you would actually take, like, a plastic card, and you use a hole puncher to punch out, like, a 24 by 60 stitch design. And you'd feed it into the machine, and it would read it. It would map the holes in the card to, like, stitches on the bed, and so you could print out basically, like, whatever design people submitted. So I had this great website where people could go and draw and, submit a card, and then I would show up on Twitch and, uh, and knit up, their designs. So it was a very fun collaborative thing, um, which unfortunately my drawing tool is broken. I had a really fancy one put together for the Hot Wheels festival, and I don't know how to fix it. But also I've sort of upgraded um, my rig, as they say. Um, so no longer am I bound by punch cards. I can actually take, digital images, so, like, any, like, two-color kinda, like, pixel art file, I guess. It's just, like, just black and white. Each pixel is equal to 1 stitch, um, on the machine, and so with that, you can really do, like, anything. It's very cool. It's, like, the only way that I'm able to make these memes is because of this new machine, which, this is a Brother, KH910 knitting machine for those who are interested. Um, I what I did to it is um, I took out the electronics panel that comes with the knitting machine, and I installed my own custom electronics, right? So, what this machine can do is it actually okay, I lied. It does read punch cards, but it's kind of different. It's actually a little sheet of plastic that you feed into this place here, and then with the control panel that comes on the machine, you can sort of manipulate the designs and flip them around and put 2 next to each other, which is pretty cool. But that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for me. So I ripped out those electronics, and I built this little Arduino microcontroller. Shout out to my dad for helping me. Um, and basically, what it does is it it's a way for my little computer here to talk to the knitting machine. So the computer is outputting this pattern, which is converted into knit stitches on the machine. It's very, very cool. Um, I really wish that, I had my second camera here so you could really see what was going on. And so I finished casting on, which is fun. So we are ready to go. And I am going to get a couple of foundation rows in. Um, I'm using these combs here to weigh down my knitting and keep it all evenly spaced on the machine, um, which is important, very important. Um, and I'm using these big, like, claw things. These are weights, and so I hang these on the knitting to pull them down as I'm working. Because if it's not being pulled down, it, like, bunches up and gets all fucked up. So, we, yeah. Wow, sorry, gotta check in on chat. Yeah, personally love art here. Just would like to say that. Um, and yeah, if you had a trampoline, you could most certainly you could be jumping outside and see what's going on. Um, Let me check on my lighting. I wish I could before when I did this, it made it look better, but it's kind of intense. It's very like heavenly light coming in. That's okay. As long as you can see and hear, hopefully it's not too distracting. Um wow, it kind of looks nice in the I'm looking at Bug World now. It's kind of nice. So anyway, so I got to hang my weights. I have 3 of these here with me. These little points very sharp, very painful to stick your finger with. Um and here's number 3. Yes, you can click to see the video. I think you have to exit out of the um, 3D world to be able to chat. Hopefully, uh, people can figure that out. I'm sorry in advance. Um, so yeah, here we go. Isn't that fun? Doesn't that doesn't that sound nice? So we're just gonna get a couple rows here before I start doing the pattern. How does that sound? Is it sounding nice? And more importantly, can you hear me over the sound of the machine? Um, because I can adjust the volume if it's really horrible sounding, but if not, then I will not. Okay, great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, to those who did not hear, this is my living room being blessed by some heavenly light that is like really shining. I think I think as the sun goes down it'll get a little less intense, but for now we're just going to bask in it. So I'm just getting a couple rows made here, so I'm checking that everything looks good. And then I and then so this is my little special studio computer and I oops, sorry. I bought it specifically to use for this purpose, which is to be my knitting machine slave computer. Um and it's perfect, honestly. Um it's yeah, a really nice little simple, very simple. No frills, not fast, but it can run the knitting machine software and it can run my embroidery machine software. So that's all I need. I'm simple, very simple. I don't need much. Um but I do need a little red computer and that's not a sponsor, but get yourself a little red computer. So what I'm doing over here is just picking the champion meme off of my computer. I don't know if I should reveal what it is. Should I wait until the very end for the big reveal, or should I maybe people can surmise from stories and stuff? I don't wanna spoil it. Um, so I will get this configured. And so what I have on the machine is 150 stitches casted on, and, we're gonna knit 382 rows. So if anyone wants to do some quick math, 150 times 382 is whatever, but that's how many stitches we'll be knitting today, which is exciting, very, very exciting. So, I have the carriage over here, and when I pull it past the Arduino over here, I'm waiting for a little yellow light to turn on, which it did, and, now we can start knitting. You'll notice it sounds a little bit crunchier now. That's because I have all of the needles engaged and they're in separate positions. So I am getting my second color already, and we are off. Um, I asked on my Instagram for people to send me questions to answer while I'm knitting, and I forgot all of the questions, so that's fine. Uh, I do remember someone asked if what my favorite brand of salsa is, and so I would like to speak on a new salsa that I have been introduced to recently. Um, New salsa from a restaurant here called Papalote, and it's like this is gonna sound fucked up, but um, it's like the vodka sauce of salsa. It's kind of like creamy, uh, and I hope this doesn't sound gross to you because it's really, really, really good. Um, if you are ever in the Bay Area and want to eat some good salsa, check out Papalote. They have once again not a sponsor, but they've got veg options and really insanely good salsa that makes what we mainly use it for is to make chilaquiles, which is like it is perfect for that, and every time it's good. Um, very, very good. Um, yeah, that's the big breakfast flex. And what did we do? We did something funny with it, but it's tried and true. Tried and true. I know. Creamy salsa sounds fucked up, but it's not like it's non-dairy. It's not I don't know what exactly they do. Maybe it's just like whipped or something, but it's just got a nice consistency and like a brightness to it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they make it. It's very good. Like look up a picture. It's not gross, I swear. Um yeah. Scotch bonnet. I have not. I would love to hear more about the Scotch bonnet. Um, I would say my second favorite salsa, and this is a flex, is just a really nice homemade pico, which I make very well. But I mean, it's super simple. It's easy, it's like 5 ingredients and that's it. But it's like between the creamy salsa and the pico that I can make, I don't really need anything else. Um, the penguin on the wall. Let me see. Oh, yeah. That's, uh that's like a duck. It's kinda like got this really nice open stance, which I love. Um, it's actually borrowed from an artist named Ivan Soyars. He made this great painting with this guy on it, and, I loved it so much that I had to knit it up. So this is something that I made on this machine. Um, yeah, on this machine, but I have an attachment for it called a ribber. So I don't even know if I can begin to explain this right now, but it's like basically another one of these and you like stack them up like this and you knit and it can make like a double faced fabric. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But it's basically so you have knit stitches on both sides instead of having like a front and a back. So you're like knitting two things at once, but they're the same piece. It makes sense. I'm sorry. I'm explaining it badly. Um, but yes, I I don't like claim to be one thing or another. But I do generally uh eat plant-based. I it's it's very hard for me to do something like eat a burrito without cheese on it, but like I don't buy meat or dairy to cook with at home. So, you know, it's not a militant stance, you know, it's more of like it's more of like something something nice or like a little bit of a challenge in the kitchen, which I always think is fun. Like if you have like a project to complete with a limited amount of resources or you have to cook something with just a couple ingredients. I think that's much more interesting than um having everything at your disposal, right? Um, yeah, kind of like a reversible sweater. Um, I'm trying to think of an example of something that would be knit like that. Um, if you have anything that has like a ribbed cuff on it, that would be made on a ribber because it has front facing like knit stitches on both sides. Yeah, this is hard to explain. Um, or if you have like a big like knitted blanket, it'll probably be made on the ribber, so it doesn't have like long floats on the back, which this piece that I'm making will have long floats on the back. Jack the Ribber, that's funny. Uh-oh. That's very funny. I think I need to move my weights up, and I may need to add a little more weight to this. I I started with these small guys that I don't know how much they weigh, some amount of ounces, but I have these Mondo guys. So here's the size difference. So I'm gonna swap to the heavy duty weights because this is starting to get thick. And I can see that my machine is demanding attention. So let me swap those out. No, everything's fine. I just need a little more weight, and I think we're all good. Sometimes if it's the yarn's too thick and it's not being pulled down evenly, the stitches will sort of get bunched up and caught. But that does not appear to be the case here, so we're good. Huh. Do I have any advice for how to get better at enjoying alone time? Um, that, that's a good question. I yeah. Maybe it's about, finding a hobby that you wanna do by yourself. I find that, podcasts are great for alone time. Uh, Me, a classically non-podcast listening person, I'm finally starting to understand how they work and what their purpose is. And I think it's, something to do when you're, like, doing chores or, um, working on the knitting machine actually is a perfect example. Um, yeah, I very much enjoy alone time because it's, like, when I can really either, like, focus on knitting stuff or, um, I don't know if you guys are into, like, books, if you read, recently got into reading. I don't know. This crazy new thing, I don't know if people really know about it. You just, like there's these things called books with, like, words in it. They're pretty cool. I didn't know. I didn't know. And it turns out there's, like, if you go to this place called the library, you can just get, like, a bunch for free, which is awesome. And so I've been enjoying my alone time by reading, which has been very fun. That's a great point. You can come to Bug World and never be alone because I'm here. All your friends in the chat are here. Um, yeah, it's we're all here together. So that's how you can enjoy your alone time is hanging with your online friends, which is something I do enjoy. I honestly am a little bummed. I wish I just didn't plan my day right. I wanted to promote this on my Twitch stream because I have, a few people are subscribed to me there, so it would have been fun to have the crossover. But I didn't do it, and that's okay. That is okay. Um, so to answer your question, I read um, I read this science fiction book called Wool, Wool, which is funny because it's like knitting, right? But it's actually a very cool sci-fi book. Not at all about yarn at all, which honestly was a little misleading. But that's okay. Um, it's kind of this freaky story about how all of humanity is in this one underground silo, and like the air outside is poison or whatever. And so it's all about these people who live underground and like all the drama and stuff going on, and you find out how they got there and all this crazy stuff. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. But that's my big rec is Wool. I don't remember the author's name, but it's Hugh something, I think. I don't know. Yeah, if you're detecting any knitting related puns or anything funny, I meant to do that. And those are intentional jokes because I'm on top of it. Um, I I do count an audiobook as a read. Also something fun to do when you're having alone time. Go for a walk with a book in your ear. Um, I like having the option of an audiobook. I don't exclusively listen, but I think it's nice, like, if um, you're, like, reading something and then you start knitting and you're like, "Oh, I wanna keep reading, but I have to listen because I don't have enough hands." So that's when I think it's really handy. But then, it's hard to keep your place. So I need like a book that you can like listen to, but then it'll show you on the pages like where you are after you're done listening. So if anyone's like a inventor or something, it's like a really good idea I just had. And please uh just like give me like 50% of your company whenever you get that going. I'm really full of great ideas, honestly. Um, so yeah, how the machine is working right now, aside from all those crazy sound, the sound of that it's making is all of these metal needles on the bed here moving back and forth. Um, and on the bed, they can be in either position 1 or 2, and that's how it picks, like, what color it is. So all of these ones in position 1 are gonna be teal, and all these ones in position 2 are gonna be burgundy. And I've got 2 threads on this side. It's actually a green and a teal held together, which kinda has a nice, like, shiny effect, and then a burgundy over here. Nice high contrast colors. I think they're gonna work really well for the image that's selected. I'm looking at the, burst of light here. This is really, is that distracting for you? Is that, oh, well, whatever. It's fine. It's been fine so far. I think it will chill out after a while. Um, but anyway, so as I'm passing the carriage across the bed, all the needles are shooting out, grabbing the color that it's supposed to grab, and then pulling it through. So it's sort of like if you've ever done crocheting, it's sort of like you know how you reach through the loop to like make another loop, and that's how you do the chain stitch. It's like doing that, but 150 times in a row. So it's sort of making a knit fabric with the two colors that I have here. And so the instructions on how to arrange the needles are coming from the computer. And so as I pass, the carriage knits all the needles and then sets them up in the position they need to be in the next row. So it's kind of this very intricate, like highly mechanical thing. It's very cool. Uh, it's sort of unbelievable that it all works so well. Um, yeah, it's because it's like you know, it has a plug, but the only thing that it's like the plug is operating is the image transmission. Everything else is totally mechanical, which is cool. Um, with that being said, it does have its, quirks. Um, like the other day, um, I was oops, oh shit, knocked my damn yarn over. Um, like the other day I was working on the machine and it was like really hard to pass the carriage back and forth and I was like, "Oh shit, like what's going on? Is it broken? Like, oh my god." And so I was like I like finished what I was working on. I was like changing the tension. I was doing all this crazy stuff to try to figure it out and then I realized that like I needed to oil the machine. Like it was just like the sound of metal on metal and it was like just didn't have enough lubrication, so I had to, like, I have this, it's not up here, but I have this, like, um, knitting machine oil that you lube everything up, and, like, now it's, like, working really well, so that's good, but it's really just, like, a ton of moving parts. Yeah, and it just sounds like this. Yeah, so I was trying to estimate how long it would take me to do this. So this is a status update. I'm currently on row 140 out of 382. So we're not really halfway there. Um, I'm definitely yapping a bit, but that's what we're all here for, right? Um, can the machine be reversed depending on hand dominance? Um, I mean, you can use either hand to push it. That's no problem. I think I obviously favor my right, as you can see. If I'm really working, sometimes I'll do two, and it's like have to use like my full body strength to move this carriage. Um, what I was what I was telling you about the machine being like so stuck and making all the before I put the oil on it, I was like I was going I don't know if you can see the difference in how I'm moving the carriage. It's like one hand to like push and pull to the halfway point and then you swap. And for some reason that seemed like easier, but yeah, I don't know. It's different. And I also like use my other hand to hang on to the stand just to like have some, something to push against. But yeah, I kind of am like I keep expecting to like develop really big muscles from this. Like, oh, like my, doing this is gonna make my arms totally ripped. And I'm like still waiting. One of these days I'm gonna get a six pack from knitting. But I just have to figure out exactly how to do that. Um, I think maybe I need more weights or something. I need like a weighted vest and weights on my legs and on my hands and stuff. And then or maybe if I had like what are those big rubber bands called? You put them on your legs or whatever when you do butt exercises. What is that called? Um anyone? um te- resistance bands. Wow, smart. Very smart. I was trying to think of something the other day. It's like the name of a movie or something. It's like that feeling where you're like, I know what this thing is called. I know the words for it. I know what it is, but I can't find it. So I'm proud that I got to resistance bands. But anyway, yeah, I got to be like bench pressing while I'm knitting or whatever. Um, yeah, I so this is like the machine that I basically use for everything. I have another one that I use more frequently before when I was doing the punch card stuff. And I have recently purchased another machine, which is like it's been this whole nightmare journey and it doesn't even work yet. like I I I so far have been finding success with the Brother brand of knitting machines. that are like generally, for domestic use. It's not like an industrial machine. Um, they're more common. You can find parts for them on eBay. You can find, machines on eBay. And so, you know, to me, that's that's what I went for. But I have been and the nice thing about the brother machines is that I could hack them with this like Arduino and my computer and stuff. So it kind of opens up the possibilities, right? Um, and so what was nice, or what I've been looking for, is something a little more, a solution that's a little more robust, right? And so I've been looking at this program called Design and Knit, which is like next level knitting machine programming software where you can do designs, you can do like apparel. It has like different um, pieces of garments like pre-programmed into it. Um, and so I was like stoked about that. I had taken a class before it when I was living in New York. I took a class at FIT, which was industrial knitting. And so it was like bigger knitting machines, still hand powered. But then at the end of the semester, we got to use the Stole machine, which is like a giant electronic knitting machine that you program everything on the computer, and you can put in like color changes, you can do patterning, you can do different shapes, you can do like garment shaping, and then you basically like hit print, and then you like go over and watch the machine, and it like knits this whole thing, and like a sweater falls out the bottom. Like, it's insane. And so I'm trying to get as close to that at home without spending um $15,000 on an industrial machine. I mean, maybe someday, but I have to settle for designing it because that's I mean, it is expensive. But I figured I can save up my pennies from, studio sale and things like that, and, get another machine that'll work with this software. And so I was like doing all this research, and I finally, just like on a whim, was on Craigslist and decided to search for knitting in the area. And I found this post of this woman who was selling um well, the ad was for like that I saw was for yarn, which I also am always looking for. And it was yarn, and then it was like three knitting machines of like this brand called Silver Reed, which can work with the software that I was talking about. Um, and so I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And so we were borrowing a friend's car at the time, and I am like calling this woman. We had this great conversation on the phone where I was like asking her all these questions about designing it and how it works. And yeah, she was like all excited. She was like, "Oh, I'm so happy to like sell this to you, and come up and you can look at all my yarn." And so we drive up to her place, which is like an hour north of here, kind of in this weird like trailer park. I don't know, like little houses. And we like walk in and are like totally assaulted with like, it's like half cigarette smell and half like air freshener smell. So it's just like a total assault on the senses. Um and but it's like whatever. I can suffer through, you know, a few minutes of, wow, this light is so bright. Um a few minutes of bad smell to leave with lots of yarn and a new knitting machine. So we're there and it's like we wanna look at the yarn, and it becomes very clear quickly that we have to basically unpack this room of her house that is, like, full of boxes, where all of the yarn and knitting machines are located. So we're, like, moving boxes and, like, moving stuff around, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm selling all this stuff because I have a health condition." It's like, I'm so I don't know, like, I'm sorry. And so we're really, like, getting into it with her, and it's like so we're finally pulling all these cones of yarn out, and it's like more yarn than I've seen in one house. Um, like just like stacks and stacks of like really beautiful wool and cotton and cashmere and like tons and tons of cones. And she's like, when I attack a project, I always go like 110%. So when I like decided I wanted to knit, I I go 110%. So I bought like all the nice yarn, all the fixins, all the stuff. Like I need everything. And she's like, but then I got sick. And I was like, and she's like, so I want to sell this stuff to someone who will use it. Okay. Um, and as we're unpacking this room, there's like this tone that is um like the sound of like um those things you plug in to keep like rodents away or whatever. She had like this rodent noise making machine that was so loud. It was like unbearable. It was like shrieking into our ears. It was like a dog whistle or something. Like it was like impossible to focus. Like not only did it stink, it also was like loud and I was like, "What is that sound?" And she's like, "Oh, that it's for it's for bugs or whatever." And it's like, "Can we unplug it or something?" And she's like, "No, no, no." So we keep like trying to close the door to that room and she keeps opening it back up and it's like a very stressful situation. But then I like am looking down at all this stuff and it's like I have to tough this out. I have to get this yarn. So, we're being nice. She did not have snacks, um, which is honestly I didn't think about it at the time, but now I'm mad that she didn't have snacks for us. And where was I in this story? So anyway, got the door with the noise closed. All the stuff is out. We're like pawing through the yarn and we're just like we're going crazy. We're just like picking up everything that we want, like not talking about price yet. Just like making a big pile of stuff because like she's like, I want it to go. And so we're like, okay, like we have a car, like we're ready. And also she pulls out the knitting machines finally, and it's like and there's so much to tell about this. She pulls out the machines and it's like, "Okay, here's the SK860, and this is the mid-gauge machine, which means it can use thicker yarns. So this is a standard gauge here, which uses pretty thin, yarns. There's standard, there's mid-gauge, and then there is bulky. And bulky is for, like, the really thick stuff. So I've been interested in a mid-gauge because that can handle sort of the acrylic, like, Joann's type of yarn that's, like, hobby yarn. Um, and so I was really stoked to see that, and I was like, "Okay, like, I wanna get that one. I wanna get all this yarn," and so, she's like, "Okay, let me find the accessories," and then she, like, pulls out a pen and paper and starts, like, writing down the cost of each cone, and I'm like, "Oh, we're not doing, like, a lump sum?" Like, "You're gonna price all this out?" And she's, like, very diligently doing her thing. And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." And so, yeah, she's doing that. We're, like, dying of scent overload and sound overload, and she finally she finally finishes totaling it up. Um, Long story short, we come to an agreement on the price. I'm getting a deal of the century in the end. She's, like, throwing in extra stuff because she's so excited that I'm taking her knitting machine. Um, and, uh, she's like, "Okay, I can't find the carriage, but here's this other carriage that is goes to another machine." Um, it's technically a bulky carriage, but it'll work on your mid-gauge machine, no problem. Like, it's not the right number, but it'll work. I swear it'll work. And, the reason why I'm buying this is because I want to use it with this program, right? And so in the carriage, there's like a special cord you plug in, and it has sensors, kind of like this one. It has a magnetic sensor that as it passes on either end of the machine, it alerts it so it knows like what row you're on, right? So each time I pass the carriage, it's ticking up one, um, on both sides. Yeah, and so she's like, "Just take this, it'll work, don't worry, it'll work." And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, "Whatever, fine. If you say it'll work and I can plug it in, that's great." So we take all the stuff, we take the machine, we like get it all home. We've like quadrupled our yarn stash, which is awesome. It's really, really nice stuff. And we really, again, like we got a deal, which was really nice. Um, and I'm like buying this expensive software and all these cables and stuff to get the designer knit to work. And I'm like all ready to test. I like watched all these YouTube videos on how it works and stuff. And I'm like, get it all set up and I start and I realize that it's not working. I'm like, "Ah," like after all this, yeah, it's not working. And so what's happening is I basically made a file that was like straight lines, and when I was knitting, it would come out looking like a checkerboard. So every other row was offset by one stitch. And so it was like a zigzag instead of a straight line. And so I'm part of this like knitting machine community online. I've got all these women in like England like testing all this stuff for me because apparently the bulky carriage will work on the standard gauge machine, but and this is tested. I had very nice women test it for me, but my carriage was not working, not patterning, not working with the software, and so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like trying all this crazy stuff, and I can't get it to work. And so I start googling stuff, and I start looking up different like knitting machine repair shops and distributors and all this stuff. And so I find two places, one that's a repair shop and one that's like a sales, like a store. That's the word. And I uh I talked to the repair shop and I'm like, "Can you fix this carriage? It's not working right." I eventually like turned the thing over and I noticed that like there's two little spots for like the magnets that are the sensors. And on one side, magnet there. On the other side, no magnet. So I don't know how to get these parts. So I call this shop. I'm explaining it and they're like, "How did you get this number?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like Googled it and I sent an email and like they sent me your name." And they're like, "Okay, okay, okay." I had to like pass the test or whatever. And so they're like, "Yeah, you can mail it to us. We'll fix it, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay." So I hang up with them and then I call this other guy, this man, Norman, who is owns like a knitting shop in Southern California and apparently has what I'm looking for in stock according to his website. So I call him up and I'm like, "Hey, I'm looking for this carriage, blah blah blah. I need it for this and that." And he's like, "I have it, but you're gonna have to trade me for it." And I'm like, "Okay, I will give you this broken carriage. That's no problem." Um, so I and on the phone, I coordinate with him. I'm talking to him, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be in Southern California in a few weeks. I will come pick it up, so you don't have to ship it. Whatever. I will like bring my carriage to you and swap it in person. And he's like, okay, I'll be here this day at this time. And I'm like, awesome. Thank God. Like I finally can get this problem solved and actually start making what I want to make, which is like been so stressful. And so a couple weeks pass. Um, we're like getting ready to go down to LA, and I'm like packing up my carriage. And this whole time, I like don't think that I should confirm with this man. So I just assume because we exchanged emails, there was like a verbal agreement. There was emails like, of course, it's fine. Why would I question it? Um, so yeah, I'm in LA and like I'm, have very, very good friends in town that I'm like there to hang out with. But I'm like, okay, I can spend 2 hours to drive to Anaheim to go pick this up, um, which is not. Oh my God, someone in the chat knows Norman. That is incredible. um, I would love to hear your story because mine is still not over. If you can't tell, um, he is kind of flaky. That is a very fair, very very fair assessment. Um, yes, Anaheim. These are the things I do for my craft, my passion. So we drive to Anaheim. We have his address. We like get there and it's like this very weird industrial park. There's like no signage anywhere. I can't figure out what the address is. So we're kind of like circling the parking lot and I just like stop and I call him and I'm like, "Hey Norman, it's me. Like I'm here to pick up that knitting machine carriage that we were talking about." And he's like, "Oh, uh right. That was today? I'm sorry. I'm in Mission Bay, which is like San Diego, like 2 hours away." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm like handing out free magazines at the park." And I'm like, "What?" Like, "What do you mean? You said you were going to be here. Like I want to give you money. Like what the fuck?" And well, we got not Norman in the chat. I love that. Um, and so we're just he's not there. He's 2 hours away. He completely blanked on it. And that's that. So I with my tail between my legs had to drive home from Anaheim. And luckily had like a really beautiful day hanging out with my friends and later with my family, which, you know, really made the blow a lot softer, but that was fucked up. Not cool, Norman. If you're watching this, send me my carriage. um anyway, so we yeah, we I have to bring my knitting I, like, have my stupid carriage with me in, like, my carry-on bag, and so I have to, like, wrap it back up and, like, bring it back home, and I, like when I get home, I, like, call him again, and he has, like, no remorse. Like, I'm trying to be like, "Oh, it's, like, really disappointing that you weren't there and blah, 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 and, like, it's kinda messed up and da, da, da," and he's like, all of this is, like, totally just sliding off. Like, it's not I can't guilt him. I can't make him feel bad about it, like, it's just not working. And, so since then and still now, it's like every single day I call him and I'm like, "Can I give you my credit card number?" And he's like, "Okay." So now he has my credit card number and it's like, "Can you send it to me?" And he's like, "Yes, I have it on my table. I will send it to you." And it's like a week later, "Do you have a tracking number?" And he's like, the last communication was me saying, "Do you have all this stuff?" And he said, "This week." So it's Tuesday. He's got plenty of week left, but I have 0 faith in this man. And apparently, according to, Delectable Wendell, they're having a similar shitty experience with him, which is like I've been having these conversations with him where I'm like, "How do I know you're gonna, like, send it? Like, how do I know you're not gonna charge my card and then forget?" And he's like, "Well, give me your credit card and then you can just dispute the charge." That's not what that's not what I want. Like, just send me the goddamn carriage. Um, and, so yeah, and I'm like I'm just talking to him, I'm like, "It's been really difficult to, like, get you to act," and he's like, "Well, you can trust me. I've been in business for 50 years," and it's like, "Yeah, bitch, because it takes you that long to fucking send shit to people, like, what the fuck?" Like, ugh, I'm getting worked up now. I'm like, hot. I, yeah, and so I still have not received a tracking number. He hasn't charged my card, so there's that. But it's like I wish he would, 'cause that shows action. Like he has not done a single thing to show me that he's actually going to send this thing to me. And then it's like, am I really gonna? Because like the agreement is still that it's a trade. So I'm apparently going to send my carriage back to him after I get this new one. But it's like I don't even want to do that now. It's like, bitch, you don't deserve it. Uh, maybe I'll send it to Portland or whatever and get these other people to fix it. It's just like it's been this unending struggle, and it's so outside of, like, how I normally interact with someone, like, I'm not used to, like, hounding an old man for something, for him to do something. Um, yeah, I love it in the chat. People are having the same experience and are backing me up, so feels good to get this off my chest. So thank you for listening to me complain about Norman, who is notorious now. Now I know, um, a known figure in the knitting community. And yeah, I mean the thing is like if he has if he has all the parts, then he can have the worst customer service. You know, he can do whatever he wants because everyone is like hitting him up every single day. And yeah, so we went to go pick up the new knitting machine in December of last year, right? So it's been a good 4 months that I haven't been able to use the new software on this new machine, which is like so annoying. It's so annoying. And it's so frustrating because I hate this type of an interaction. It's like I do not want to talk to someone like this. It's not Not what I'm into. Um, wow. So we're on row 365 of 382, so we're almost done. Um, I'm glad that I could air my grievances during this stream. It's very necessary. I'm glad that there are people here who understand me and who know what I'm going through. It means a lot. Um, yeah, it's good to be back online, you know? Um, good to share, and a word of warning to others who may think that Newton's yarns is a reliable and quick service or knitting machine provider, because they're not quick, they're not anything. Maybe if you had the in-store location working, that would be one thing, but yeah, the constant emails and phone calls is like, but hopefully we will get the new carriage soon, and we'll be able to create new things with it, which is what I'm really excited about. Is the types of things that we'll be able to make. I am hoping to get into the apparel game. I want to make a goddamn sweater or two. I've got an idea in my head for a pair of shorts. And all of these things would be possible if I had this like knitting software and I could use it. And it's like I can get everything set up um, on the computer, but I can't actually knit it until I get this carriage, because it's like the computer has this big cord that you plug in to the carriage. It's a different setup. Um, so once you get that going, you can like the computer will like actually tell you verbally when you need to like decrease or increase or change rows. Um, uh, anyway, it's gonna be great, is what I'm saying. And maybe that will be the triumphant return of the online streaming, is when I can be making that other stuff. And so my friends have finished knitting the image, the famous bracket winning image. And so all I need to do now is to cast off, which is basically um, tie up all the ends, because right now it's just a bunch of loops on hooks. And so I'm going to use this tool to close up all the loops, and then I can take it off the machine and I can show you this image we've been working on the whole time, which is so exciting. And no, I cannot. I shall not. I refuse to achieve my dreams until I get the carriage from Norman. This man is standing in the way of everyone here having cool new sweaters. So if you all want to start bringing that up to him, I don't know. Actually, don't contact him, because I don't want to like distract him from what I need him to do, which is send me a goddamn carriage in the mail. But yeah, it's so funny. I never in a million years would expect that people in the chat also know Norman. Insane. Um, but yeah, I've got a ton of new ideas swimming around in my tiny, tiny little brain, of apparel items. So not just wall hangings, but wall hangings for your body. It's kind of a new concept I'm working on. Little more than a poncho, but you could be a walking piece of art once Norman gets his shit together. So that's on him. He's really holding us all back. It's not just me. Um, but yeah, that's really been occupying a lot of my time recently. It's just hounding this person who, yeah, and when we were communicating, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be up in Northern California uh in May. If you want, I can just bring it then." And I was like, "No, no, like you should ship it." And it's like now maybe like I do need him to bring it up. Like if he remembers and like then I can go meet him in person and kick his ass for ugh, stressful. Yeah. Yeah. Release the carriage. We gotta get a trending topic going, so he'll finally pay attention to me. Um, but yeah. Anyway, back to salsa, right? Remember that? I wish I could remember the other questions that people were asking me on Instagram. Um, I also want to mention that this piece that I'm currently casting off right now will be raffled off this weekend. So you can Venmo me to enter the raffle to win this piece. Um, I will be posting more information about it. Um, Also, Bug Girl will do the same. So just keep your eyes peeled for how and where to enter. So you can win this art piece full of my emotion, raw emotion, and grievances. Um, and that's really where the good stuff comes from. That's the heart and soul of an art practice is being pissed off about something, right? Uh, so you're getting a direct download of me complaining in a physical form. So that's pretty cool, I think. Um, I feel like my voice is like totally fried now from yelling over the sound of the machine. I like have discovered that I am not a loud person, which is horrifying, but I guess true. It's like I speak softly, and so it's hard for people to hear me. And so when I'm yelling over the sound of a knitting machine, I'm not used to it. Um, Got to build up my yelling chops for the next time I call Norman, I guess. Uh, so he'll really hear me. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah. And as I mentioned before, this is the first of several upcoming artist takeovers of Bug World. You can check out the schedule on my Instagram and Bug World's Instagram. Got a really cool selection of people coming up. Um, all different types of stuff. They won't all be knitting and complaining streams, which is what that's my signature thing now. Um, they won't all be bracket tournaments, but they will be equally as exciting. So, okay, my final stitch is pulled through here. Oh my god. We did it, folks. We really did it. And yeah, I just got a text from Lin-Manuel saying he can't make it, which is pretty messed up, but, it's okay. Um, so without further ado, I hope you can see this. We have the side eye, little puppet guy. Can you see it? Not ironed. Can you see it? No, not at all. Hard to see, hard to see. I'm getting my, assistant to plug in some lights here. Hopefully it's visible. Anyway, um, there's our guy. I will get this ironed and I will be I will be sharing, pics of this so you can enter the raffle. Um, this is our grand winner. Uh, no disrespect to Lin-Manuel. I was lying actually the entire time. Uh, I just wanted to knit that image. And maybe I will. I might still. Uh, but yeah, we've got this great little dude here. Um, both frames. This is fun right here. But imagine if this was a sweater, right? Very cool. Um, looks funny. It looks very funny. Now I'm looking at my monitor over here. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So I will iron this and I will post information for everyone to enter the raffle to win. And yeah, that was fun. It was a release. It was cathartic. It felt good to talk. Um and I'm happy to address any more questions, but I think I'm ready to tap out. So if uh, if there isn't any other uh, questions, you can always hit me up at Meowie Wowie. Send me a message. I'll be sharing information about the raffle and the rest of the artists that will be on Bug World. Um, yeah, I think I'm spent. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with me. Uh maybe I should get the Twitch going again. That was fun. It was fun. I have to get my voice trained for this. Um but I'm going to sign off. So, goodbye my friends. Thank you for everything. Bye. Have a nice night. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy, you know, uh whatever you're getting into this evening. I yeah, I'm going to go.